Whenever I hear people talk about billionaires wanting to upload their minds into the cloud so they can become eternal, I cannot help but laugh a little. Not because the subject is unimportant, but because the idea itself feels so small compared to what existence really is. To me, it sounds like a very human misunderstanding of consciousness, life, and the universe. It assumes that a person is nothing more than information that can be copied, stored, and replayed like a file on a machine. I do not believe that is what we are. I do not think human awareness can be reduced to code, hardware, or a digital backup. That way of thinking feels like another attempt to control something that was never meant to be owned. What I am really trying to express is that this world is not the whole of reality. This planet is only a tiny part of space, and even space itself may only be one layer of something much larger. I do not believe this dimension is all there is. I think reality extends far beyond what we can physically measure, categorize, or turn into technology. I imagine dimensions and states of existence unfolding endlessly in all directions. Beyond our current understanding, human beings often act as if what we can see, touch, and profit from is the full truth. But I do not see it that way. I think there is far more going on than the modern material view of life allows people to admit. When I was younger, I had a psychedelic experience that stayed with me for years. I saw myself as something small, almost like a little animal, like a hamster, and it made me laugh. It was not just a random image. It felt like a reminder of how strange and temporary the human ego really is. All of our seriousness, our pride, our social status, and the way people try to make themselves seem important suddenly looked ridiculous from that perspective. It made me feel how limited the ordinary human point of view can be. It also made me feel that life is much bigger than the role we are playing here. That experience reminded me that this reality is not the only reality, and that what many people devote their entire lives to chasing may not matter nearly as much as they think. That is part of why I have such a hard time understanding the mindset of the people who are willing to tear apart the world for wealth, control, and personal gain. If this life is temporary, if this world is shared, and if future generations have to come after us, then why would anyone want to leave destruction behind? At the very least, you would think people would want to leave the planet in decent shape for those who are born into it next. But instead, so much of modern life seems driven by greed, competition, and this obsession with standing above other people. There is always this push to dominate, to own more, to extract more, to consume more, even when the cost is obvious and even when the damage cannot be undone. To me, a lot of that comes from the human systems we created and then started worshipping as if they were natural law. Money is one of the biggest examples. It is basically a made-up scoring system, a way of assigning value, power, and status through numbers and categories. It becomes a kind of caste system where some people are placed above others and treated as if they matter more. Then those at the top protect that position at all costs. They build their lives on hierarchy and control. And once they get used to living above others, they start believing they deserve it. They want to rule over people, claim resources, and shape the future in their own image, even if it means crushing everything beneath them. That is why the dream of uploading the mind feels so revealing to me. It is not just about technology. It is about fear, ego, and refusal to let go. It is the same mindset that wants to dominate the earth and outlast everyone else. It is the desire to escape death without ever confronting what death might actually mean. It is an attempt to drag the self into permanence through machinery, as if immortality could be manufactured by the same systems that already reduce life to data, profit, and control. But if someone wants to trap themselves in a machine and call that eternity, then maybe that is the version of reality they are choosing. To me, that does not sound like transcendence. It sounds like being locked into one of the lowest and most limited layers of existence. Mistaking simulation for continuation. I do not believe that is what happens to us. I do not think death is the end in the way modern culture often frames it. And I do not think consciousness is so shallow that it can be fully captured by circuits and storage. I believe there is movement beyond this life. I believe this world is one phase, one layer, one dream among many. So when my time comes, I do not think I will be ending as much as moving on. The best way I can describe it is like waking up. This dream fades, and another begins. What we call life here may feel absolute while we are inside it. But I do not think it is final. I think it is only one chapter in something much greater than the human mind, the human body, or any machine we could ever build. Jared Bruni.